Before the love bombing, the gaslighting, before the relationship even gets off the ground, a secret job interview is taking place. It's a series of 4 silent tests that a person with narcissistic traits uses to figure out if you are a good target. How you react in those first few weeks determines everything that comes next. And today we are exposing all 4. Ever look back on a toxic relationship and wonder, how did I not see that coming? You rewind to the beginning when everything felt so perfect, so intense, so right. But here's the uncomfortable truth. It wasn't a lucky accident. You were being sized up. People with strong narcissistic tendencies don't choose their partners at random. They are like predators who first have to identify the right prey. They need to know if you are someone who will put up with their nonsense, feed their ego, and stick around when they inevitably start to tear you down. To figure this out, they run a series of subtle, almost unconscious tests. These aren't obvious questions. They are carefully deployed psychological jabs meant to measure your tolerance for disrespect, your empathy levels, and your willingness to put your own needs on the back burner. They are testing the fences to see how much they can get away with. If you pass these tests by letting things slide, by making their feelings your priority, by chasing their approval, you unknowingly signal that you are a great source of what they crave most, narcissistic supply. Understanding these tests isn't about blaming yourself, not at all. It's about spotting the game so you can see it coming and refuse to play. Let's break down the 4 most common tests they use. Test number 1, the minor boundary push. The very first test is almost always a jab at your boundaries, but it's so small you'll probably just brush it off. This is a minor boundary push, and it's designed to look like an innocent mistake, a personality quirk, or maybe even a joke. So, what does this look like? Maybe they show up 15 minutes late to every date, or they give you a backhanded compliment that feels like an insult wrapped in a smile. They might borrow something small and just forget to give it back. Or they will make a slightly off-color joke at your expense, and if you get offended, they will hit you with the classic. They will say, "Hey, I was just kidding. You are too sensitive." On their own, any of these things seems pretty minor. It feels petty to call someone out for being a little late or making a clumsy joke, right? That's exactly what they're counting on. The real goal here isn't just to annoy you. It's to see if you will defend your boundaries. Will you say something, or will you let it go just to avoid a little conflict and seem easygoing? If you don't say anything about their lateness, you have just told them that your time isn't valuable. If you laugh off the insulting joke, you have just shown them that you are willing to eat a little disrespect. They are looking for someone with soft, flexible boundaries. They are just applying a tiny bit of pressure to your invisible fence to see if it's even on. If you don't react, they get a clear signal. This person will put up with being disrespected and ignored just to keep the peace. You just passed their first test, proving you are a great target they can control. Test number 2, the empathy test. This next one happens fast. Often within the first couple of dates, the narcissist will hit you with the empathy test. This usually comes in the form of a premature trauma dump. Out of nowhere, they will share a deeply personal, tragic backstory with a shocking amount of supposed vulnerability. Suddenly you are hearing all about their crazy ex who destroyed them, their abusive childhood, or some story of profound loss where they were the ultimate victim. It's a perfectly polished story of suffering designed to trigger your compassion and make you see them as a wounded soul who just needs the love of a good person to finally be okay. This isn't real vulnerability. It's a strategic performance to see how you will react. This test has 2 goals. First, they are testing your empathy level. Are you a natural fixer? Do you feel a sudden urge to rescue them? A highly empathetic person hears that sob story and immediately wants to help. You feel rush of protectiveness and think, this poor person has been through so much. I will be the one who never lets them down. They are specifically filtering for people who will jump into that caregiver role. Second, it's a get out of jail free card for their future bad behavior. By painting themselves as the victim from day one, they make it almost impossible for you to ever see them as the bad guy. Later, when they start to mistreat you, your brain will flash back to their sad story and you will think, oh, they don't really mean it. They are just acting out because they are so broken. If you dive right in, offering endless support and sympathy, you have passed their test with flying colors. You have just shown them that you are a deep well of empathy they can drain anytime, and that you are willing to put their emotional history before your own peace. Test number 3, the chase test. Once they feel like they have hooked you with some initial love bombing and you have passed their empathy test, they start the third test, the chase. This is the classic push-pull dynamic, a tactic designed to create anxiety, dependence, and a full-blown addiction to them. Here's how it goes down. After a phase of intoxicating attention, non-stop texts, talking about the future, calling you their soulmate, they suddenly go cold, vanish. The 24/7 communication flatlines. Plans get cancelled with a lame excuse. Your messages are left on read. That warmth is replaced by a chilling silence, and you have no idea why. That silence is a weapon. It's meant to create a vacuum and spark panic inside you. You are left spinning, asking yourself, what did I do? Was it something I said? How do I fix this? Your mind races to solve a problem you didn't even create. The goal of the push-pull is to see if you will chase them. Will you double text them or triple call them? Will you apologize for something you didn't do? Will you work overtime to win back their affection? When you chase, you send them a very powerful message. Their attention is more valuable than your own peace of mind. You are teaching them that when they pull away, you will automatically blame yourself. When they finally reappear, often acting like nothing happened, the relief you feel is overwhelming. This cycle creates a trauma bond, an addiction to the roller coaster of the relationship. Every time you chase and they reward you by coming back, that bond gets stronger. You are not just in love with them, you are addicted to the cycle of anxiety and relief. By chasing them, you prove you are terrified of being abandoned and will do anything to avoid it, even if it costs your own dignity. Test number 4, the sanity test. The fourth test is the most sinister because it's a direct attack on your sense of reality. Let's call it the sanity test or the gaslighting primer. Before they dive into the full-blown reality-destroying gaslighting that defines narcissistic abuse, they start small. They plant tiny seeds of doubt. This is where they will subtly deny or twist something you both know is true. For example, you will bring up something they said yesterday and their reply will be, with total confidence, I never said that. You must be imagining things. Or they will deny a promise they made, claiming, I would never say that. You must have misunderstood me. The key is that it's always over something small, making you question your own memory instead of their honesty. You are left with a weird, foggy feeling thinking, wow, is my memory really that bad? This isn't about winning a tiny argument. It's about chipping away at your trust in yourself. They are testing you. Will you trust their version of events over your own? Each time you back down on a small point, saying, well, maybe I misheard, you are being trained to doubt your own mind. A person who trusts their own perception is the narcissist's worst enemy. They cannot be easily manipulated, but someone who is already conditioned to think, maybe I am misremembering, or maybe I am just too sensitive, is the perfect candidate for what's coming next. Passing this test gives them the green light to slowly dismantle your sanity and replace your reality with their twisted version. If you are listening to this and a chilling wave of recognition is washing over you, you need to hear this loud and clear. Passing these tests doesn't mean you are weak or foolish. In fact, it often means the exact opposite. You weren't chosen because you were broken. You are chosen because you have the very qualities the narcissist desperately lacks and needs: empathy, kindness, forgiveness, and the willingness to see the good in people. Think about it. You passed the boundary test because you are a forgiving person who gives others the benefit of the doubt. You passed the empathy test because you are a compassionate person who wants to help someone who seems to be hurting. You passed the chase test because you are loyal and committed and you are willing to fight for a relationship you believe in. You passed the sanity test because you are a trusting person who doesn't assume the person they care about would lie to them over something small. The narcissist's entire game depends on weaponizing your greatest strengths. They saw your best qualities and used them as an instruction manual for how to manipulate you. The confusion and the self-blame weren't a side effect of the relationship. They were the goal. This was never your fault. It was a strategy. You were targeted for your light and not for any darkness. If this all sounds painfully familiar, please know you are not alone, and this is not where your story ends. It's where you start to wake up. If you want more tools to spot these patterns, protect your energy, and take back your power, subscribe to this channel. And just as importantly, share this video. You never know who is out there now, sitting in the dark, blaming themselves and feeling lost. This information could be the light that finally helps them understand what's happening to them. Share your own experiences in the comments too. Your story could be a lifeline for someone else. Recognizing these 4 silent tests is like getting a secret decoder ring for narcissistic behavior. It lets you to see the manipulation for what it is right from the start. This isn't a search for a soulmate. It's a screening process for a source of supply. The moment you spot that tiny boundary push, that too soon trauma dump, the beginning of the push-pull, or that first little crack in reality, you are no longer a player in their game. You are an observer who knows the rules. And once you know the game, you can make the most powerful move of all. You can refuse to play. You weren't chosen for a weakness. You were chosen for a strength they could never have. Hold on to that truth. Protect that strength and never let anyone use it against you again. I will see you all in my next video. Until then, take care and bye.